I think everyone acknowledges the greatness of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think most people realize he's more than just a run and dunk athlete. I think most people realize he's actually a skilled player. Giannis is one of the greatest players of my lifetime, and one of the greatest players ever. In my opinion, he's probably a top 20 player to ever play in the NBA already. He has everything you want in an NBA career. MVPs, a ring, Finals MVP, All-Star appearances, All-NBA selections, All-Defense selections, a Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star MVP, Most Improved Player, one of the greatest Finals performances ever, if not the greatest Finals performance ever. He has it all. He could retire right now and would walk into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. He's the face of versatility on both ends of the floor, which is the definition of modern basketball. He's one of the most dominant players basketball has ever seen, and in my opinion, he's easily the best player in the world right now, and he's been at the mountaintop since 2021. But the question I have is, why does the media seem to not want to give him MVP this season? The reason I believe that Giannis is the best player in the world is because of his dominance on both ends of the floor that's not matched by anyone else in the league. Sure, guys like Embiid and Jokic might be more polished offensive players, and Embiid in his own right is a pretty good defensive player, but they don't match the dominance that Giannis has on the defensive end. Giannis is one of the most dominant scorers in the league, on top of one of the most dominant defenders in the league. He's a tier of defense that's above just about every other offensive superstar in the league. That is a combination that makes me believe he's easily the best player in the world. This season, Giannis is averaging 31.2 points per game, 11.9 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game. In the history of the NBA, there are only two other players to average at least 31 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game in a season: Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain. And I would argue Giannis doing it this season is more impressive than when those two did it, because Baylor and Wilt did it in over 40 minutes per game, while Giannis is only doing it in 32.4 minutes per game. Averaging over 30 points per game in that amount of minutes per game on its own is impressive, but it's really insane when you add the context of his production in other areas as well. So when you factor in his statistical dominance with the fact he's leading the best team in the league, that have the best overall record in the league, they're the heavy title favorites, and they're the only team in the league as of right now that have a win percentage over 70%, and likely will be the only team with a win percentage over 70% at the end of the season, I ask a very simple question. Why isn't he the favorite for MVP? Or at the very least, why isn't he top 2 or in a 3-way race that's very, very close? Because at the most, this is the closest MVP race ever, in a sense of each of them have a 33% chance to win it. I understand that Giannis is top 3 in MVP favorite odds right now, but he shouldn't be third based off the criteria we look at in MVPs and what he's been this season. I know people will point to games played, and yes, Giannis has missed time this season. He likely will finish this season with 68 games played. But that's not far off from the other two candidates to win MVP either. Jokic will likely finish with around 70 to 74 games played, and Embiid will likely finish with 68 or 69 games played. The only players who will finish with at least 75 games played, who will likely get MVP votes and finish top 10 in voting, are Tatum and Sabonis, and while both of them are having all NBA caliber seasons, they aren't MVP frontrunners. And I'm not here to say that Jokic or Embiid don't deserve to win MVP. They both are having incredible seasons. But I don't understand why people act like it's a two-player race between Embiid and Jokic for MVP, and it's gonna come down to those two, because it really seems like those are the only two players people are talking about in the MVP discourse. And to be honest with you, Giannis has just as good, if not a better case than both of them. And I felt that way last year. I actually think Giannis should have won it last year. The Bucks have a 75.4 win percentage when Giannis plays this season. That's 3.2% better than their overall win percentage. Jokic, when he plays this season, the Nuggets have a 70.7 win percentage. That's 3.6% better than their overall win percentage this season. Embiid has a 67.8 win percentage for the Sixers when he plays, which is 3% worse than the overall win percentage that Philadelphia has this season. Now, I do think it involves more context than just that. This comparison does make it look like the Sixers are better without Embiid, which isn't the case at all, because only 3 of those 9 wins the Sixers have when Embiid hasn't played this season are against teams with an above 500 record. Overall, the Sixers have a 3-1 record against above 500 teams. However, the fact they lost to the Wizards by 10 and the Bulls by 14, both games Harden played, mind you, and they lost to the Hornets despite LaMelo not playing, I think that shows how valuable Embiid is to the Sixers. When you look at Nikola Jokic, only 1 of those 3 wins the Nuggets have without him this season are against teams with above 500 records. Overall, the Nuggets have a 1-2 record against above 500 teams without Jokic this season. And in the case of Giannis, only 2 of those 9 wins the Bucks have without him this season are against teams that are above 500. And one of those games is against the Brooklyn Nets, where they basically didn't play anyone. And Mikal Bridges and Dorian Finney-Smith were the only starters who played, and they only played 12 minutes because they had mandatory rest from the Nets organization. That was their plan. So basically, that Nets team wasn't the Nets team that they would be at full power by any stretch of the imagination. Overall, the Bucks have a 2-4 record against above 500 teams without Giannis this season. I understand that from this point of view, based off what I just talked about, it actually gives all 3 of these candidates a very compelling case, which makes sense because all 3 are very worthy MVP candidates. But that's the point. All 3 of these guys have legit MVP arguments. They all are putting up historically great numbers. They all clearly make their teams better. All 3 of them are teams in the top 3 of their conference. And I don't think I'll be upset if any of these 3 win it, because they all deserve to win it. Like I mentioned in my other video about the MVP race, multiple deserving parties can exist at the same time. And none of these 3 candidates should be treated like undeserving winners if they win it, even though people will regardless because it's the internet. But for me, Giannis is the pick for MVP because he is the best combination of overall dominance on both ends of the floor, on top of being the best player on the best team in the league. Giannis has a legit all-defense case this year. I know Brook Lopez and Jrue Holiday are his teammates that will both probably make first-team all-defense over him, but still, he's going to be an all-defense candidate because he's been all-defense good. He will be first-team All-NBA. I don't think that's really a question at all. And the Bucks are going to run away with the overall best record in the league. That's a combination that makes me believe Giannis is the most valuable player in the league. I know Jokic is putting up numbers we literally have never seen before. I know Embiid is having one of the best scoring seasons ever by a big man. And if either of them win it over Giannis, I won't be mad because they deserve to win MVP as well. It's not like my pick for MVP is important. I'm just a guy on the internet, and I acknowledge that Embiid and Jokic are doing stuff that's pretty historic. But it's not like Giannis isn't having a historically great season either. He's literally putting up numbers only 2 other all-time greats have put up in a single season. And both of them needed 10 plus more minutes per game than Giannis did to accomplish it. When you combine historically great numbers with the impact on both ends of the floor, being at the level they are, and the team success, that's what the formula for an MVP season looks like. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time. NBA, WNBA when that season starts up, NBA draft stuff about prospects. So if any of those things interest you, I really think you enjoy this channel. And liking and subscribing are the best way that you can help me grow as a channel. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, helps more people find my videos, so in turn I can grow and make more content for you guys consistently in the future. Let me know what you think about the MVP race in the comment section below. I think I made it very clear who I think my MVP will be this season, but I do think that there are other worthy candidates as well, so leave all that in the comment section below, any thoughts you have. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.